BanDam Talks, the first thrilling show. We have all four of us here. This is crazy. So I'm going to run it down real quick. We got Mr. Dustin Parlier, Mr. Nathan Spear, Mr. Noah Hughes, which you've seen last time, and Matthew Estes. So we're going to run down our top 3 tips on buying gear today, because it's a pretty big topic. A lot of people, if you're just starting out, it's a pretty crazy task to try to get what the gear you need to go play shows. So we are going to have quickly just to run our 3 down, and I'll start this one off. So for me, number 3, and all of us are going to have different opinions on this, which is great. So you can just take everything in and you choose from there. So number 3 for me, and this is kind of lower on the list. It's buying used gear. That's a little lower, but that's helped me get so many more nicer things for like a less price, I guess. And as long as you go check it out and all that kind of stuff. But it helped me save a lot of money. Be able to just, I don't know, guitars especially. You can get some pretty nice used guitars for half the price you have to pay for one new. But not everything. I wouldn't recommend buying everything used. But if you're just starting out, getting some used stuff is always good to go. Number 2, little awesome motto that we have is buy once, cry once, which just means don't settle for the cheaper end. If you're like, well, I can only afford that, so I guess I'll take the lower end model. Save up your money, wait an extra year, do what you got to do, and get the one that you want. Do not go through countless speakers, countless guitars, then breaking on you just to get the one you're going to get eventually anyway, a couple of years down the line. And number 1 for me, this is kind of a cop out, but in order for all this to even make a difference or work, research everything you're getting. When I say research, I mean if you're looking at something used, you're looking at something you want to buy brand new, you're like, okay, well maybe something that you're just, like I said, you don't know whether it's the best one out there or anything. Look at your competition, look at different brands, check it out, go check it, try out everything you're going to get. But yeah, just review everything, do your research on it, and make sure it's exactly what you want before you get it. So those are mine. Dustin, how about you, man?
So I purchased a lot of recording gear, so most of what I'm going to talk about relates to that, and some of mine are similar to his. But I would say actually use your gear before you buy more, because I went into this trap where I would, whenever I get like a steady paycheck, I would constantly buy new gear, and then realize that after a few weeks, the thing I purchased a few weeks ago, I wasn't even using as much as the new stuff that I would get. So don't take things for granted, and don't just buy things that pique your interest off of impulse. And going off of that, and what he said, conduct your research and don't give in to impulse or convenient purchases. Be willing to take the time to deliberate and save money for better equipment. And then finally, my last one is don't necessarily expect an expensive or nice sounding piece of gear to make you sound good. You can, a lot of it depends on, your style and your playability and everything, but a good guitar is going to sound good, or better than a cheap guitar. But when it comes to vocals or microphones and things like that, the microphone might not suit your voice. So make sure that you actually conduct your research with that.
Good stuff. So one of the most important things that I've found as far as looking into buying gear, making different purchases, as far as because I play guitar, guitars, amps, effects, all that kind of stuff, is really figuring out the context of what you're going to be using it as. Because if you're going to be playing smaller clubs, bars, stuff like that, you're probably not going to want to buy a 100 watt Marshall stack and waste $3,000 on something that you might never use. So figuring out the context of when you're going to use it, what you're most likely going to use it for, is also important, because that can help you make a decision. So kind of figuring out the context of what you're going to be playing in is important. The second one that I have is also hearing it live is a big help too, because a lot of stuff that you hear on videos, demos, all that kind of stuff can sound completely different from what it might sound live. Miking, EQs, effects, all that stuff can make stuff sound totally different from what it actually sounds like in person. So hearing it live is a big help. And the last thing is probably just to with this, you kind of do your homework, research stuff, and don't buy impulsively, because I made the mistake of buying some stuff that just happened to catch my eye. I liked it at the time, and then down the road I ended up buying something nicer when I could have just put the money I had from before towards the nicer one in the first place. So those are kind of my big 3, and one,
All right. So my first one is kind of a conglomeration of all the ones so far, right? you'd be surprised at how nice the stuff you can find used is, right? So I would reiterate that be patient, know what you're looking for, because chances are it'll show up, right? So if you figure out what sound you're going for and what you want in the end, you'd be surprised if you just wait a little while. It's probably going to show up on Craigslist or somewhere. So just be patient and know what you want. My second one is that more is not always better, right? So sometimes when you go to buy new things and you look in places like Musician's Friend or at Guitar Centers, you can get really nice package deals. And if they seem like a really nice deal and you're getting a ton for a cheap price, it's probably because they're just trying to sell it. I know first time I bought cymbals, I bought 8 cymbals for like $400 or something. And they all sounded like trash. But I had 8 cymbals, so I was really excited.
Amen.
Yeah, so know what you're getting, and if something seems like a really good deal, think about why it might be a really good deal. And my third tip is that there are some things you can afford to wait for, and there's some things you can't afford to wait for. And so if there's something that you just need to get, and you need to get it new, don't waste your time and get it, right? So I had this trouble with heads for the longest time, right? And I think the band will agree. I waited until I sent my bass drum beater through my bass drum head at a show before I replaced my heads, right? And those are things that you're not going to get those used, right? So like guitar strings, sticks, heads, things like that you need to replace, right? Batteries for stuff.
Somebody bought used guitar strings. I was like, what is that?
Yeah, no, I know. But I've seen people sell used heads.
I didn't start putting them on Guitar Craigslist.
Right, but if you need them, you need them, and so get them, right? And that'd be my 3.
Nice.
Only played for a couple shows. Sorry.
Well, that's about it. So.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, I guess real quick, if we have time for that, I'm just going to recap everybody's real fast. So, no, what was your, like, we'll just go back again.
All right, so as I just said, be patient, get used, it'll show up. Make sure you know what you're buying. So if you see a really good deal, think about why it's a good deal. And 3, if you need it, get it.
Cool. Nate, what's yours, man?
Think about the context you're going to be using it in, hear it live, and do your homework on it beforehand. And don't buy impulsively.
Conduct your research. Don't make impulse purchases. Don't expect an expensive piece of gear to necessarily suit your needs. And actually use your gear. Don't take your gear for granted.
Nice. And mine were shop used, buy once, cry once, get that top selling thing, and do your research, try everything out before you get it. Awesome. But this has been great. Hope you guys, if you guys have any suggestions, be sure to leave them in the comment section. I'm sure there's plenty more advice to be had. So until next time, we're BanDam. Just check us out on Facebook, like us, all that fun stuff. I'm Matt.
I'm Dustin.
Nate.
Noah.
We'll see you guys later.